Hi, and welcome to this latest episode of our chat room series on biodiversity conservation. I'm Sim Sim Wissgott, and today we are going to be talking about birds. The COP15 conference on biodiversity was held just recently in Kunming in southwest China, and biodiversity is on everybody's mind at the moment as we try to find ways to fight climate change and protect our environment. So biodiversity, of course, refers to all the different types of life on Earth, and that includes birds. They're all around us, but I think especially if you live in a city, a lot of the time we kind of forget that they're there, or we don't really pay attention to them. So today we are going to talk to a few people who are very passionate about our winged friends and also have devoted a lot of time to getting to know them better. First, don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Weibo, Yangshipin, and TikTok, and on our CGTN app and website. Leave us your comments and your questions. All right, so first, let me tell you a little bit where I am. I'm in Yuanminyuan Park in northwest Beijing. It's a beautiful park, as you can see. Quite a few ducks here, so very appropriate since we are talking about the birds. And indeed, it's a very popular place here for bird watchers. And one of them is Liu Ming. She has been a birder for several years, along with her son and her husband. They have even traveled abroad on bird watching trips. They've even had now even her in-laws now are involved and interested in this. So she's bird watching somewhere in the park. We were going to meet up with her, but it seems they've gone to a different location. So we're going to join up with her via video link for now. So Liu Ming, where are you and what are you up to?
Hi everyone. Now we are at the Yuanminyuan Park together with the China Birdwatching Society doing the birdwatching activity. And we see quite a lot of birds clearly and quite closely.
Okay, so how often do you take part in these kinds of activities?
We used to devote all of our spare time in birdwatching activities, which roughly equals to 1/7 of each year's time, including winter holiday, summer holiday, Golden Week, other public holidays, and weekends.
Wow, so there's actually quite a few people around you I can see. So who's there today?
You can see there are quite a few friends together, and as well as my families, my son, husband, and parents-in-law.
Oh wow, so your son and your husband are already there, are also there. That's quite a family outing.
They are together with me just over there. I can show you.
Hi.
Hi. Tang Huaiyuan, tell me, have you seen any birds today?
Yes, I saw a red-billed blue magpie hiding some little fruits for during the winter.
Oh, very cool.
This is the red-billed blue magpie. It might look like the azure winged magpie, but it has a red bill and very long tail.
Maybe with a little bit of luck, we'll get to see one of those also later today. So Liu Ming, I think your event is about to finish, so how about we meet up at the usual location, yeah? And we will keep going there.
It 它是有它自己的规律和规律，所以如果说我们要把这件事情看成是鸟类在活动，这样才是这个。冰箱里就拿东西。
我就猛一看，我说这是。
黄的那个挂了，像小灯儿似的。
所以我们俩有都说会走得好，有的说会跳得好，其实都。 那么来的这些鸟都干什么？那我们一眼就看清楚了，都在那儿吃柿。
在当初1300多种，已经收录的基本上都有。
就是大家在今天看鸟的时候，其实鸟在给我们讲故事。
I can now spot Ming. She's, as you would expect, a bird watcher. She has her binoculars in her hands and she is watching some birds. So actually, I shouldn't make too much noise because who knows, maybe I'm going to scare them away. Hi. Hey, hi, how are you? Have you seen any birds that we should be looking out for?
Yes, we do have. There are quite a few over there. Milers, both male and female, and little Gabriel.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so you just came from another bird watching event. How was it?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, we saw over 20 species of birds.
Oh wow, 20.
Yes.
In this park.
Yes.
Wow, not bad. You said your husband got into bird watching before you also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the first time you went, were you interested or did you just go because your husband and your son went?
Yes, for the very first time, even the initial stage of birding, I have the mixed feelings about it. On the one hand, it's quite enjoyable to be with family and be outside with clean air, rich greens, and limpid streams. On the other hand, it's quite challenging to identify the flying and hiding birds. I kept asking my son and husband, where is it? Where is it? And what is it? What is it?
But now you enjoy doing it?
After a while, when I really immersed in birding by studying some books and the photos we take, I can gradually able to spot the bird's movement and sound. Then it's very tremendous, satisfied and rewarding when you can identify a bird by yourself.
But it's a lot of dedication because you were telling me earlier you have to get up very early, right, to do this?
Yes.
I love that you roll your eyes.
For some extreme days, we got up at about 4 a.m. in the morning
Oh wow.
and drive there to do some bird watching tour
Why do you have to get up that early?
because birds are active in early morning.
I see. Okay.
We need to follow birds rather than when we are comfortable.
So I do not know that much about bird watching. I have in my mind I had an image of bird watchers, which was often older people. You do not look like that image that I had of bird watchers, and the fact that your son got involved so early was also not like the stereotype. What is it do you think that gets people now of all ages interested?
Yes, bird watching started in UK, and probably the stereotype you got from that country. And nowadays, especially in China, they got kids are very interested in this, and
Yeah.
we have several organizations or clubs offering this either services or tours. So more and more young people get involved in this field.
That's good. So okay, so tell me do you have a favorite bird? Yeah, which one?
Some beautiful, colorful birds.
Uh-huh.
And once we went to Costa Rica,
Right.
yes, we have some bluebirds with long tail.
Oh, that's beautiful. So yeah, so that's another thing that I find so special about your family is that you are not just interested in bird watching here near where you live, but you have traveled to how many countries?
10
10
so far.
for bird watching.
Yes, across 5 continents.
Wow. Okay, so which one was your favorite country then for bird watching? Which one would you say?
Oh, they are all wonderful places like Costa Rica or Ecuador, Sri Lanka, India, Philippines, or even Spain.
Really? Wow. So, okay, all right, let's take a seat because get a little bit comfortable here. And then we can talk a little bit more about birding and bird watching. So, do you often come here to Yuanmingyuan Park for bird watching?
It's one of my favorite parks.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Are there, I guess, a lot of people would think that, you need, that bird watchers would look for very rare types of birds. Is that true, or are you happy also seeing certain common birds?
They are different people, but most of people like new and unique species for common. Yes, and then when we do the bird watching more often than the common birds, we can see them also some attractiveness to us.
Mm-hmm.
Even the tree sparrow. The other day we take some very cute photos, pictures of it.
Mm-hmm. How much time did you spend there? Like, when did you start in the morning?
The normal birding tour in Beijing, for example, the weekend days may look like starting at 8 and finish by 12.
Okay, all right. So it's still a pretty good amount of time. And do you have also like what do you need? Do you have like the big binoculars? Do you have they're pretty good binoculars, right? Do you have also like telescopic lens?
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
And the cameras with big lens.
Oh, wow. Okay. So do you do this in a group or or individually? Because I'm thinking maybe if there's too big a group, then you might scare away the birds.
Might be, but in cities like Yuanmingyuan Park, it's not so much difference either by individual or within a groups, because we kind of live in a city, and I guess birds get used to human beings as well.
Okay. All right, so it doesn't bother them as much.
We saw a few of woodpeckers just
really?
now.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so maybe we'll see another one during the live stream. Who knows? Maybe it'll join us. We've talked about the bird watching. We've talked about the sounds and but going back to now there's a lot of talk about biodiversity. Why is it important to care about birds? I mean, we see they're everywhere, but a lot of the time we don't pay attention to them.
Even though we didn't pay attention to them, they are still here with us. There are more than 500 species of birds just in Beijing and over 1,000 in China. and over 10,000 in the world.
Mm.
Mm.
But then there's also so what are some of the most common ones that you can find in Beijing? So you mentioned the mallards, which I think a lot of people have seen. Any other common birds here?
Tree sparrows, magpies. There are 3 magpies actually in
Oh,
Beijing,
okay.
and woodpeckers.
So obviously, in a city, in nature, birds just have their environment. In the city, there's cohabitation with humans. And then there's one problem, maybe, or one place where they might clash is around airports. It's unsafe. You need to take measures to keep humans safe and also keep birds safe, because obviously a bird running into an engine or birds running over the tarmac are not safe. So can you tell us a little bit about that and like some of the measures that you've heard that people are taking?
I heard they got some special nets set up to block a special area away from the birds, and then play some noisy sounds to scare off the birds. But I also heard the birds get used to the noisy sounds quite quickly. So we do need to do more research on this and find more new solutions to have a balanced approach for both human being and birds.
And you mentioned also before that you were interested in bird watching because you're interested in the outdoors. You like outdoor activities, but how much can we say that maybe outdoor activities, do they help conserve nature, or might they also harm nature if too many people are out?
It's debatable. And as probably everyone know, for the places with no rare people intervention, we may expect more animals or plants. But on the other hand, if like say, for example, we have a typical country, Yangxie in Shanxi province, they got a very local unique bird in the world. Once we have a large number of birds, so more bird watchers come to that place and do the bird watching tour, and its benefits both economically and socially for the local country. So it can be the local people used to shoot the birds or kill the birds for food years ago in China, but nowadays they take pictures and then can lead a tour and have more people to join them and see the birds. So the outdoor activities, on this hand, is benefit for the birds.
Absolutely. And so another interesting question is whether introducing bird watching or raising awareness about bird watching can also raise awareness about biodiversity conservation. And maybe we should introduce that into the school curriculum. For that, we talked to Professor Zhao Xinru, who's a former professor at Peking Normal University, also one of the founders of the China Birdwatching Society. He introduced several very popular courses on nature conservation and birdwatching at Peking Normal University, has been very involved in educational programs. So let's see what he had to say about this.
The protection of biodiversity seems to be the protection of various animals and plants in everyday life. In fact, the protection of biodiversity has 3 aspects. The first aspect being the species level, the second is the genetic level, and the third being the diversity of the ecosystem. Therefore, the 3 diversities constitute with the concept of biodiversity protection. Humans began to come into contact with these species through bird watching or similar activities. Only through the observations on what kind of environments they live in can we gradually understand what biodiversity is. Only after we understand what biodiversity is can we propel biodiversity conservation in reality. Birds have the most species among the terrestrial vertebrates, and they are the most environmentally sensitive group. If you observe them more and get closer to them, we can gain a deeper and broader understanding of the environment. For example, if a bird watching class is offered in elementary school, it will encourage the children to pay attention to birds and the environment, especially rare, endangered, and other common birds around us. We should let children grow their interests and share about nature. Then, in middle school, we hope that the students will not only gain knowledge when watching birds, but also learn some observation and recording skills, which is actually a way into scientific methodology. If we want to offer such courses in universities, we hope that students who have persistent interest in bird watching can participate in citizen science projects. We hope that students who have persistent interest in bird watching can participate in citizen science projects. We also hope that they will participate in the bird census survey, as the data will be given to the corresponding institutions or experts. The data they collect can become a part of citizen science participation. As a result, introducing bird watching in elementary, secondary, and higher education institutions is very meaningful, as the younger generations can have access to environmental education, and they will be able to care more for the earth and the environment in which we live in. My recommendation to young people who's ready to go for a birding trip is, I would like to see more young people growing from young people who don't care about the environment or birds to people who care. The more we learn, the more we can appreciate their behaviors without interfering in their activities. And our society will become more civilized, and people's behavior will reflect a respect for nature.
Okay, thanks, Professor Zhao. So, Ming, what do you think? Should this kind of thing be taught in school?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, in Beijing, there's a high school already offer this kind of courses for decade. Affiliated High School of Peking University established this curriculum in September 2009, covering the bird watching, insects observation, some field plants observation, and stars observation.
Ooh, fascinating.
Yes.
So, I mean, it still feels to a lot of people still feels like a very niche occupation, maybe even like a bit middle class occupation if you're going to travel. So, how can it gain more followers? And do you even want more followers? As we said before, do you want too many people? If you have a small group traveling somewhere, maybe it raises awareness. But if you have thousands of people going to a place to see a rare bird, does that help?
It's quite a good question. Also debatable. And at this stage, for me, my personal view is that it's as more as possible. Still very little percentage of the whole population know about bird watching, know about the biological conservation. So I think if possible, we need to advertise more the concept of the good options to go outside and do the bird watching, and if possible can attract more followers. But it can be hard to make more people going outside and doing the whole day outdoor activities. And sometimes in extreme cases, we go to some rare places, just no modern facility at all, only birds or animals and plants or trees.
I see. But I mean, you actually brought some books with you, because you were telling us earlier it takes a lot of planning when you go somewhere on holiday, on bird watching trip. Can you just show us a little bit the books that you have?
Yes. For example, if we plan to travel abroad, we do need to plan months ago in advance. And first thing is before the travel, secure a field guide book
Okay.
for the destination.
I see. Okay.
Have to say sometimes it's hard to get one in China for like the other continents field guide book.
So you can see here, like birds of Costa Rica. It's a whole book just on the birds of one country, and with wonderful birds inside. The regions they come from, the images of the birds. That's a lot of them.
Yes, and then I do need to do some homework to translate the English name with this checklist as a reference book, have the corresponding Chinese names. And then when we do the field trip, we can know the exactly species we saw and do the recording.
So these are all the species in China, all the species in the world?
Species in the world.
In the world. Okay.
Classification and
Right.
distribution.
So see, it's a textbook. Wow. Okay, but yeah, so you've got the scientific name, the Chinese name, and then the English name, and there are at least 2 pages here of just sunbirds. 3 pages of sunbirds. I'm not even sure what a sunbird is, but there's a lot of them. This is impressive. Wow. Okay. All right.
And during the trip, we have a bird list, and we can mark which kind of species birds we saw on which places.
Okay.
And then at the end, we'll count numbers and the species and develop our own bird list.
Okay. Okay. So you have a checklist of like birds that you have seen and the ones you want to see.
Yes.
Or that you can see. Okay. All right. That's very efficient.
And after the trip, because it's a learning process for us, great learning opportunity. So in addition to the preparation and the field observation and recording, we also do some wrap up photo album for the countries and the birds we saw.
So this was your trip to India?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So you can see Taj Mahal, and then maybe you can show a little bit. So you didn't just see birds, you saw a lot of other types of. Oh, that's your son, I believe.
Yes.
And your husband?
Yes, and my parents-in-law.
Okay.
And sometimes we even travel a group of 11.
Okay.
Big family.
That's fantastic. So you have wonderful souvenirs that you can keep of all your trips.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up, and I think that's like a very nice way to finish this. It's bird watching is not just something you do in your backyard; it's something you can do around the world. And I think you've given us a very good introduction to it today. I think hopefully it will make more people interested, right?
Welcome more people to join China Birdwatching Society and do the birding tour with us. We can easily go the common parks in Beijing for the bird watching tour.
Hopefully this got you interested in birds and in bird watching a little bit. So thanks for joining us today, and join us again next time for our next live stream. Bye.